Hello. There is much noise surrounding the economy. GDP growth seems to be soaring, yet there's widespread evidence of joblessness, including millions applying for a few thousand government jobs. The government and the mainstream media trumpet that all is well with the Indian economy. India is indeed the fastest growing economy in the G20, something to be happy about. Why, however, is there so much anxiety about the future, especially amongst our youth? As the nation goes to elections, it is important for citizens to understand the entire narrative, to also see what the government, the mainstream media, and the Western press miss or play down. I have been a professor for over 30 years, having been the chief economist of the IMF, the chief economic advisor to the government of India, and the governor of the Reserve Bank of India. I have worked with both Congress and BJP-led governments. I will share my understanding of what's going on in the economy in a series of short videos. Now, you absolutely don't need to be an economist to understand what I'm saying. I will present a set of charts to you, typically based on government data, usually one or two in each video. All data, even those from official sources, have their weaknesses, and I will point some of those out to you. While you may disagree with my interpretation of each chart, hear me out, because taken together, the charts offer a compelling narrative. Hopefully, the student in each one of you will see how, in this era of rampant fake news, careful analysis can force data to reveal secrets. If you like the videos, share them widely. You will be performing an important service. Clearly, there's a lot going on at any time in India, a lot of good, such as the build out of infrastructure and the digitization of payments. This is great, yet you already know all this through government advertisements and the media. But unless we take a clear, hard look at what is not working and fix it, far too few Indians will have a chance to succeed. And we need many more Indians to succeed to become a developed nation. I am certainly not pessimistic about India's future. Rohit Lamba and I have plenty of examples in our recent book, Breaking the Mould, describing where Indians have been successful and many more areas where they can be successful. But to know how to act, we have to understand where we are. The constant claim that all is well stands in the way. So with that preamble, let us start with this question. How is the Indian economy doing today? To get at this, the first few videos, starting with this one, will examine the growth in incomes of Indians. When we add up all Indian incomes together, we get gross domestic product, otherwise known as GDP. And the growth of GDP, of course, is GDP growth. Our GDP has overtaken the UK's just a little while ago, and in a few years, it will overtake Japan and Germany. This should be a matter of pride for the country, but it should also be set in context. These are rich countries, and rich countries grow slowly because they already are on a high plateau. Poorer countries like ours grow faster because they still have to climb to build roads and bridges in what is called catch-up growth. Our growth is good, but not much different from similar developing countries like Bangladesh and Vietnam. It is also slower than our growth in the past. But because we have the largest population in the world, we are overtaking countries like the UK, even though each individual in the UK is 20 times as rich as the average Indian. Bangladesh and Vietnam would celebrate similarly if they had our population. We still have a long way to go if we are to become rich. Even if we sustain our current pace of growth for the next 24 years till 2047, which will be a formidable task, we will barely be a middle-income country, let alone a Viksit Desh. That is simple math. Unfortunately, we will be aging by then. So at the current pace of growth, we have to face the prospect of becoming an old nation before we become rich. We definitely need to increase our pace of growth from the current one. More problematic, other indicators than GDP growth are not so rosy. The lack of good jobs is probably the single biggest problem facing the Indian economy today. Yet the recent government white paper on the Indian economy does not mention the words unemployment or underemployment. If we don't create good jobs for everyone, how will we become rich? But enough of just words. Let us look at the data. These videos are best watched in sequence. This is probably the longest one of them all. I will put them out in digestible sets. Collectively, all 13 will take you about an hour of your time, an hour to understand how India's economy is doing today. Thanks for listening.